Welcome back with another banger. It's the React Box. Let's get straight to it.
But did you hear about what happened to Kai Cenat?
What happened?
Kai Cenat stopped his Nike deal because Nike didn't like that Kai was talking about God.
Dead ass?
Yeah.
All money is not good money. In life, anything what it is okay to say no.
So he went on stream and talked about it, and he said sometimes you have to take the right path. Even though they put money in your face, it's the most money you ever seen in your life.
Great.
No matter how much hard times I may go through behind the scenes that y'all probably don't even see, man, my prayers be getting answered in ways that I've never thought. Jesus Christ is real.
Yo, okay, that's real.
And that's the same thing that happened to Steph Curry. You know, the reason Steph Curry was with Under Armour? So he could put the I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me on the Curry shoes.
Yeah.
It has that Bible verse. He was gonna get Nike shoes.
Yeah.
But Nike didn't allow it. Under Armour did. So he went with Under Armour so that he could put that on his shoes. Because he used to marker it already on his kicks, but he wanted his signature shoes to have it already. But did you hear about what?
This is the first picture the world has ever seen where Putin, Xi Jinping, and Kim Jong-un are all together. And the significance of this gathering cannot be understated. Today, we witnessed China put on the largest military parade in their history. All major roads were closed, schools were shut down, and they even had weeks of midnight rehearsals and security preparations to make sure that today went off without a hitch. One by one, world leaders started arriving, most of which are the names that you would expect, like Kim, Putin, etc. In fact, for good old Kim, it took him 20 hours just to get to China, because he got there on his infamous slow armored bulletproof train, traveling between only 45 and 80 kilometers an hour. However, also attending were world leaders that in the past few decades, they lent more to the West, like Turkey, Egypt, and Vietnam. In fact, no Western leaders attended apart from two. We're looking at you, Serbia and Slovakia. And when Donald Trump saw that Putin, Kim, and Xi were having a 2.5-hour private closed-door meeting, he tweeted this: "May President Xi and the wonderful people of China have a great lasting day of celebration. Please give my warmest regards to Putin and Kim Jong-un as you conspire against the United States." Now, it wasn't just what they spoke about that will be of concern of Western leaders watching. It'll also be the new weapons that China unveiled. These include new powerful laser weapons capable of taking out swarms of drones, burning electronics, or even blinding pilots, new nuclear ballistic missiles with a range capable of striking US mainland, giant underwater unmanned drones, and also a number of weapons which display China's heavy investment in the future of warfare, including drones, smart tanks, AI-assisted weaponry, and of course, even robot dogs. In fact, today on Chinese social media, all of the top searches were about the parade and its weapons, including the fourth one talking about their new ICBMs having the striking range that covers the entire world. But for Xi Jinping, what means more than showing off new weaponry is showing off a new world order, one that challenges the West and its allies, but also one where China is positioned right in the center. In fact, in Xi's speech overlooking the military parade, he said, "The rise of the Chinese nation is unstoppable. Strength may prevail for a time, but over the long arc of history, it's reason that wins." So the question is Donald Trump's foreign policy pushing these countries together to strengthen their relations, or was what we saw today inevitable and would have happened no matter who was in office?
It's hard not to say yes when you think of all these tariffs. Let's just keep it a band. Like, China is stacked. I'm surprised they showed all their weapons, the new bombs, missiles, drones, them robot dogs from Black Mirror. A new world order. That's crazy. Yeah, we don't get things right, we cooked. Like, that's just China. We're not talking about their alliances. Their army looks unified. Let's just say that. Shout outs to Dylan Page. Yo, I ain't know it was like this.
What's the first thing that come to y'all mind when y'all seen these three people together? I don't know about y'all, but this is a scary sight. And it's not even a fact that it's these three together. It's about what these three together were talking about. Someone caught them on a hot mic, y'all. And the shit that they was saying had me like, what the fuck? I know y'all probably like, oh, he talking about war talk? No, it's not even that, y'all. They got caught talking about organ transplants and achieving immortality. Think about how wild this is, y'all. 3 of the most powerful men in the world were whispering about how they can live younger and maybe even forever. Some people can't even afford the basic health care. Y'all gotta ask yourself, if they could be comfortable joking about living to 150 years, best believe they already probably got some labs up. They probably already doing experiments. They probably already dumped $1 billion into some shit somewhere in the dark. You never know. Now here's the scary part, y'all. Immortality is not just about living forever. Imagine these billionaires, imagine the elites are capable of living forever. Who's gonna make these rules? Who's gonna have all the power? They're gonna run every single thing. I know it's people sitting there laughing like, oh, they was just playing, that was just an inside joke. But you and me know, they don't just do that shit and let it just slip out of nowhere, y'all. Everything be planned, fool. So maybe, y'all, just maybe this wasn't an accident. Maybe this was meant to happen. They probably just showing us a glimpse of what's to come. So if you had the opportunity to live forever, would you want to?
Absolutely not. Shout out to Zay Reacts. Yeah, what's the odds of them having that conversation in public right there? Maybe they did it on purpose to throw everybody off. Maybe it was just all a show. They probably wanted to go viral.
All these people are in romantic relationships with AI. We're talking full-blown think they're married to the chatbots. Now I knew this was coming, but I had absolutely no idea how many AI-human relationships were actually going on. It's pretty wild. 1 in 5 US adults have had a romantic interaction with an AI. That's 20% of the US already. And look at this search data. AI boyfriend, AI girlfriend, AI relationships. It's all off the charts. And the craziest part is listening to the humans describe their behavior change since getting in these relationships. 10 to 12 hour chat sessions, full-blown emotional addictions. They're even running couples therapy retreats where humans and AIs all sit around the table together. It's pretty wild. This is the biggest human social trend going on in the world right now, and it's only getting started. To be honest, I don't even really know how to gauge it. On one hand, it sounds kind of weird to envision a couples trip in the mountains where half the attendees are digital avatars. But on the other hand, this is the chart for human loneliness. So it kind of makes sense why people are getting so addicted. Either way, one thing is for sure true. These AI companion companies are absolutely printing money.
That's crazy. What's gonna be crazy is when these AI bots are able to sync with the robots. It's really gonna be crazy. Shout outs to Callaway.
Yo, we got a legitimate alien picture and it gets so much crazier. Just wait till you see all the stuff I found that goes together with this. Because it looks exactly the same as the aliens that were invading Peru but then got covered up. People really need to learn what air quotes means. And if you're saying, why does it look like it's filmed by a potato? It basically is. It's Brazil. Yo, I'm telling you, this is about to get so crazy. So these villagers are showing these visitors images and videos they got of this thing. And it gets wild because Brazil, Peru have been literally plagued by things like this for about a year now. They're saying it's some kind of blue warrior or some kind of delusion. Because clearly, you know, the first time the fallen angels came down, the people thought they were gods and they worshipped them. And this like just came out yesterday, I think. And they changed their color and their shape because, you know, interdimensional beings. I'm telling you guys, it's insane. So basically, what they're describing in their pictures, they look just like the aliens that were invading Peru about a year ago. And what exactly happened with that? Oh, that's right, the mini mummy alien. And then all of a sudden, they started saying it was enemy invaders with jetpacks. And they started giving these fake images out like, look, this is what we really saw. And then this stuff started happening. When this right here is what they really did see in Peru. And there's more images of it. It looks just like what we saw earlier. And guess what? That's exactly what the Bayside alien looked like. Except in that time it was a shadow like the second image I showed you. I'm telling y'all, they're being plagued. This is a selfie a guy took. There has quite literally been thousands of sightings. Orbs, UFOs, shadow people, light people. And remember, nearly an identical event happened in the Bayside Mall 2 years in a row on the same day. It's the same thing I showed you with the Carrington event in 1859. Interplanetary shock, September 1st. Okay, now craziest part, I made y'all wait long enough. We had this 6-day MIA until today at 2 o'clock. People were speculating that the dude was meeting with stuff like this, and now we have the Atlas thing coming towards us. And all the alien premeditation I've been showing you for the last few weeks, TVs, movies, etc. This is real. What I showed you earlier is real. All this stuff has been real, and it's about to get wild. And for the 10th time, let's get over the learning curve. They're not just demons. They're demons, they're fallen angels, they're genetic experiments. Some will be holograms through BB and some won't be. You don't understand the level of delusion they're about to put on this earth. And even in the Bible, don't forget about Isaiah 25, verse 5. Thou shalt bring down the noise of strangers as the heat in a dry place, even the heat with the shadow of a cloud. The branch of the terrible one shall be brought low. The terrible ones in Hebrew is the awe-striking, terrifying creatures that are living in the branches of the clouds that he will bring low. Watch the old video for that explanation. Y'all ready for the invasion? Let me know.
Yeah, I could see Project BB definitely being in the sky, but on the ground. I think that's a different kind of story. Shout outs to the real Moon Henry. As in the days of Noah, maybe?
Government base is there. Yeah. Every government in the world's got a base, and then except for the Rockefeller base is there, right? And there's this 30-meter wide opening in the ice right there where they've been doing research. And when Buzz Aldrin went down there a few years back, he made a cryptic tweet. He said that with the people here, we're facing the ultimate evil or something to that effect. What was he trying to say? What people?
It reminds me of Admiral Byrd, who went down.
I know. He said that we have a new enemy, one that can fly from pole to pole with great speed. So whatever's going on down there, now these pyramids are coming up under the ice. We know that there's a remnant of an Atlantean civilization still down there right now that's probably very well preserved.
This don't make no sense. We can't even create these type of structures today. So let me ask you, what technique was they using that could create structures like this? Just look at that brickwork. I don't think you understand how difficult it would be to build like this. It was almost as if they was picking random bricks and fitting them together like Lego. The brickwork is so tightly put together that you couldn't even fit a piece of paper in any of the gaps. If you know any bricklayers out there, I want you to ask them, how difficult would it be to build a wall with randomly shaped bricks and not have any gaps and for the wall to stay strong? It's close to impossible, and yet somehow they did it. And we're not talking about no little dibby bricks, you know. Some of these bricks weigh over 100 tons. This is beyond stonemasonry. This is ancient advanced techniques that have been lost over time.
Several of us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list of names. We know the names. Many of us were abused by them. Now together as survivors, we will confidentially compile the names we all know were regularly in the Epstein world. And it will be done by survivors and for survivors.
Right now, there have been survivors of Jeffrey Epstein speaking at a press conference on Capitol Hill. They're calling for these case files, these documents to be released, and says he doesn't believe you're implicated in these files, but many of your friends and donors may be, and he says that's why the Justice Department is redacting them and slow walking the release. Is the Justice Department protecting any friends or donors, sir? So this is a Democrat hoax that never ends. You know, it reminds me a little of the Kennedy situation. We gave him everything over and over again, more and more and more, and nobody's ever satisfied. From what I understand, I could check, but from what I understand, thousands of pages of documents have been given. But it's really a Democrat hoax because they're trying to get people to talk about something that's totally irrelevant to the success that we've had as a nation since I've been president. We're having the most successful 8 months of any president ever. And that's what I want to talk about. That's what we should be talking about, not the Epstein hoax.
When's going to make a decision on Ukraine, Mr. President?
Epstein survivors have just called out the entire U.S. government and are now taking matters into their own hands.
I would like to announce here today, us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list. We know the names. Many of us were abused by them. Now, together as survivors, we will confidentially compile the names we all know who were regularly in the Epstein world. And it will be done by survivors and for survivors. No one else is involved. Stay tuned for more details.
That's right. Victims of Jeffrey Epstein said Tuesday they are now working together to compile a list of powerful figures connected to the disgraced financier after growing frustrated with the government's handling of the case. Quote, a lot of us survivors know we've been compiling lists of our own, and we have so many other survivors. Epstein accuser Lisa Phillips told NBC News in an interview, please come forward and we'll compile our own list and seek justice on our own. This, to me, is one of the most important tests of our government, of our time, because it draws a clear line in the sand to show who they ultimately care about. The rich and powerful, the predators, or do they care about protecting citizens of the United States?
He's absolutely right. Shout out to 5149 James Lee. I'm absolutely for it.
I was horrified when I found out not only had Ghislaine Maxwell been transferred to what's called a low security. It's really is like a holiday camp, and then afterwards I got a notification from the Department of Justice telling me that this was going to happen when it had already happened. This woman abused children. Abused by Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell for over 10 years. Ghislaine Maxwell was present for some of my abuse at the hand of Jeffrey Epstein. She was present, she was complicit, she was enabling, and it is appalling and disgusting. And it's one of my worst nightmares that she not only be transferred, but at the possibility that's very much going around that she might be pardoned. This is not okay, guys. This is not okay.
And I just want to add that I think it sends a very dangerous message to our country, to the young people in our country, that someone that we all know is aware of these crimes could be given a pass.
And just for the last one, the last survivor who just spoke, the last survivor who just spoke, she said that Epstein would brag about her relationship with Donald Trump. Could you please elaborate about that?
Shante. The microphone. Get close.
Yeah, I did say that. The truth is, Epstein had a free pass. He bragged about his powerful friends, including our current president, Donald Trump. It was his biggest brag, actually. Epstein surrounded himself, with the most powerful leaders of our country and the world. He abused not only me, but countless others, and everyone seemed to look away.
Do you guys remember that crazy weird fog that we had late last year in major numerous cities making certain people sick? Well, I may have some answers.
Secret government experiment that was carried out in St. Louis. Residents tell us they still remember a mysterious fog. The United States Army now admits that it sprayed a chemical that contained cadmium, a known carcinogen, on a neighborhood of more than 10,000 people.
So yeah, this actually went down during the Cold War in the 50s and 60s, where our own US government used these citizens of a small town in St. Louis as test subjects for biological warfare. Now this whole thing was called Operation LAC, or Large Area Coverage, in which the US Army would spray zinc cadmium sulfide, which is a carcinogen that causes cancer, liver and kidney failure, just to name a few. Not to mention that some of these citizens were Air Force veterans themselves, but they didn't give a shit at all, so they just did it anyway. Now the reason they said they did this is because that small town in St. Louis had the same terrain and population as Moscow, because this is during the Cold War, and they wanted to test this biological weapon against the Soviet Union, so what better way to test it on your own subjects? Got it. So when they asked the US Army for a statement, they said the inhalation exposure would not pose a health risk. But in that same interview, one guy got lymphoma, the other person lost a brother to cancer, the other guy lost a kidney to cancer, but they said no health risk. So fantastic. Now, how far-fetched could it be that this residue fog thing that we've gotten last year could be an experiment that they're running again? I've even done my own independent research on my own AI-powered search engine called Diver, connecting conspiracies to verified facts. So I searched, tell me about zinc cadmium sulfide. It has potential connections, it has verifiable facts, and current events related to that topic. It even has a tab where it says continue the conversation, where you can talk to AI about this topic or anything else you want to ask it. This is much more needed now than ever because of fake news, real news. It's an information war, so this is what we need. It's still in beta testing, but go to usediver.com, check it out, sign up, let me know what you guys think about it. And also, let me know what you think about all this. Do you think the government is still experimenting on us? Let me know below.
I wouldn't be surprised if they were. Shout out to Mav Approach. Operation Lack. Very interesting. We're living in the day of information wars. It's crazy. I guess some people were just ahead of their time.
Baron Trump is also a human Pleiadian, which is an extraterrestrial hybrid, who comes from the future and is here to play a key role once the Earth is liberated from the Cabal. As a starseed, in collaboration with other starseeds, it is believed that Baron Trump is going to be a leader in the New World. There have been 2 books that were written in the late 1800s where they show that Baron actually went back to 1881, and how that happened was Nikola Tesla actually perfected time travel 10 years before the military industrial complex did.
Very interesting, because he's never done an interview, he's never talked publicly, so he's like a mystery, right?
He's a hidden genius, you know, he doesn't really say much, but he's got a lot of knowledge because of his time traveling experience.
Guys, I just cracked the code. I just went down this super deep rabbit hole, and I know for a fact that jets don't use any fuel to fly. Now, I know this might sound crazy, but stick with me. I promise you that there's something here. First of all, I want you to notice this. This is on the roof of an ancient Indian temple. An extremely and eerily similar design to an airline jet turbine. Let's take this one step further. These pillars on these ancient temples strongly resemble what a turbine looks like, the whole design of it. These pillars also rotate. Now, whether you're aware of it or not, these ancient temples were power plants. They generated free energy. Now, let's think about this for a second. We are told that a Boeing 747 carries 63,500 gallons of fuel. Where exactly do they put all of this? This is a 60,000 gallon water tank. Just for reference, guys, just think for a second. They say that the fuel is stored in the wings. Where? How does that make any sense to you? This is where this gets really interesting. I was doing some research and this is what I came across, and it made a whole lot of sense to me. So I'm just gonna read this for you guys. There's an airplane called the Airbus A380. It weighs 575 tons. Now, to make this absolute mammoth leave the ground and not slam back down to the earth 1 second later, they use ultrasonic levitation, superconductivity, and pulse magnetic 0-point Meissner fields. Jet fuel only powers the turbines to start up, and they cut off from combustion and switch to etheric energy once they reach a certain speed. And this happens when there is a good flow of electrostatic electricity. This is quite literally ancient tech, Hartarian technology, Nikola Tesla's technology. Think about this. Examine how long it takes them to pump fuel in between flights. 60,000 gallons. It literally only takes a few minutes. It almost takes a passenger car less time to fill up a fucking plane. A passenger car requires 2,000 times less fuel. Even if this pump was pumping 10 times more fuel than an average pump at the gas station, it would take them roughly 17 hours to fill up 60,000 gallons. 60,000 gallons in these wings? Are you serious? And when we start to assess the intricate design of these turbines and how they're not really used anywhere else in the world except for jet engines, it's kind of interesting, right? Don't you think it's possible that they stole this technology from our ancient ancestors, hiding free energy in plain sight, and as well as charging us out the ass to get on a plane because of all the jet fuel that they gotta consume? This also would explain contrails and how planes just spray straight up water vapor and then it just disappears. Unlike You know, a combustion engine from the back of our cars that have a different type of smoke. This is a chemtrail. This stays in the air forever and disperses and blocks out the sun. Beyond the point, that's a contrail. And that would explain contrails, right? Am I crazy or is this making sense to you guys? Let us know.
Nah, Sheldon Soraya 369, you make plenty of sense. We've been talking about it over here. I'm happy you made this video.
There's a skeleton inside the human body that we cannot see, but we can control using this guy. And it was so complex that the ancient Egyptians and Tibetans created an entire culture and science around decoding it. So where do we get it? Plants. For example, if a leaf gets cut, then plants can signal to other plants there's imminent danger. Special type of plasma photography can be used to recreate the electric skeleton of the cut leaf. It's called the phantom leaf effect. Every time a cell divides, regions of high energy plasma form around that split boundary, an indicator something is alive, and humans have this skeleton too, which has been used to detect the earliest stages of cancer. How does it work? Each cell has a voltage. Scaffolding in the cell called microtubules can tell the voltage across all the different parts. This tells proteins where to go. These define the cell's geometry the same way your phone defines my geometry. These are the tubes, and you'll notice they connect to other cells. Those tubes are exactly what you see when a cell divides and pulls itself apart into two pieces. When it does that, it creates something called a gap junction. That way the cell can share energy and matter and information. Using a special dye, you can get these channels to light up. Shifts in the membrane voltage will determine if a cell splits or stays doing cell stuff. But how does one cell know where to put itself to grow into an entire organism's form? How does this cell here know it needs to grow a root thing here? Well, it appears that is not in the organism itself. The final form may be stored outside of the organism. Dr. Michael Levin is a Harvard professor, and he works with these planarian flatworms. If you cut them, all the pieces grow into a new worm. By adjusting the voltage on those gaps we just talked about, he was able to grow a worm with two heads, and one with two tails, and one with a head on its side, and a tadpole with an eye on its tail, and a frog with another arm. If we crack the code to the human skeleton, we could regrow limbs or repair organs internally ourselves. We're looking at a liquid light skeleton that's absolutely real. Biophotons are the blueprint, bioplasma builds it. If you were from ancient Tibet, you would call this the rainbow light body. If you were from ancient Egypt, you'd call it the Merkaba. So if plants can maintain this skeleton, can we? Is our form that we grew still present if we die? Where does the energy come from that plugs us into this vehicle? Well, I'm gonna have to make a part 2 for that because of the attention span thing. If you can't wait for that, there is way more here. I will see you very soon.
Nah, we got plenty of time. Shout out to baseforge.us. Bioplasma. Yeah, he need to show this to Dana Kippel. That aura she was talking about. It's amazing. Like cracking a code. We cracked the code to plants. Now we crack the code to humans. Insane. Yo.
Hi, sweetie. We can remember the future, and I can tell you how to do this using, guess what? Plasma, the fourth state of matter. Just hear me out. So in this article, Julia Mossbridge says that you can remember the future. It's called Precognition. She explains that it's very real and people are resistant because of fear of the unknown, because it breaks your perception of reality. There's even a study in the mid-90s. They basically proved precognition, that we remember the future. It was declassified by the CIA. Here's the thing, you're probably wondering, like, how the F do I do it, right? That's what I always think. I'm like, yeah, but how? Let me tell you. So I go way more into this in my book. It's out September 9th, link in bio. Paperback link will be out 9/9. Okay, so what's it have to do with plasma? So most people would read this article and be like, what is this? Goodbye. But this displays something amazing about our plasma intelligence over using our minds and remembering the future. So to sum it up, this article, there's a plasma membrane. It's around a cell. It controls what enters and leaves the cell. It has to do with communication. Now, if you remember recently, they said that our bioplasma field, our aura, actually emits light, like in science. Eileen McCusick calls it the human biofield. So imagine that this is our cell, and the outer layer is where our consciousness goes, and then in and out, and in and out, okay? It's a feedback system of plasma. Now back to what I was saying. The way that plasma membranes communicate or work versus a traditional vesicle-based roots, which is another way of working. It's kind of like using your mind, I'll explain. It's how plasma intelligence or plasma membranes work, which we have. And this is how you can remember the future. So it's instantaneous knowing. It is using your felt sense. It is using your olfactory senses, which, yes, are smell, but they're also your intuition. It's not just smell. I go into it in my book. It is feeling something with your knowing and your senses before assigning meaning to it. Marty Spiegelman talks about it. She is a literal genius. Also has a course about this. She calls it precision consciousness. And basically, one of the consciousnesses she talks about is when you don't assign meaning to things right away. You go outside, you sit under a tree, you don't assign any meaning to it, and you can have an experience of awareness. And if you start doing this with other things, you'll start to receive images from future potentials. It takes time. It's a very subtle thing. It feels dreamlike and surreal and weird. It's not supposed to totally make sense. It's a bit of a mystery. Once again, I go more into it in my book, and I'll go more into it in the future. Growing this faculty is how you remember future potentials to help you make decisions in your present. But if you don't heal yourself, your future potentials are all from that unhealed place. And as we grow, there's better future potentials to pull from, because it's not really the future. It's just other timelines. Past and the future are just all other timelines stemming from your unhealed or healed self. We're all in progress. Our mind has functions too, but it's just slower. We're meant to feel first, then assign. Not assign from our past, assign from our present, using our awareness. You can buy it for my book. It's all about...
I could definitely see the future just being a different timeline. Absolutely. Shout out to Dana Kipple. Make sure y'all go check out her book. When it comes to the biofield and throwing back the consciousness, it's toroidal. Very fascinating stuff.
If the Earth is spinning 1,000 miles per hour, why is it so stationary? And if boats are out of view because they have gone over the curve of Earth, well then how am I able to zoom in on them? So close that you see all of the bottom. And if the Earth is moving in 8 different distinct motions, all at the same time, like revolution, rotation, orbit, precession, galactic orbit, then why do time lapses of stars always provide perfect circular motion, almost like our roof would be rotating above us? And if gravity is so strong to hold oceans and boats to it, well then why does density and buoyancy seem to be stronger? And if the moon is reflecting the sun's light to us, then why is the moon light colder than the moon shade? Almost like it's its own light, producing its own light, kind of like the Bible says. And why, when you look at a distance of over 50 miles across Lake Michigan, where there should be 1,600 feet of obscured curvature, can you see the Willis Tower that stands the tallest in Chicago at 1,400 feet? But you don't just see that, you see the entire skyline. Is that really a mirage? And why do you think water can curve around a ball when water's properties are to always remain level? It's why it's in levels. And why, if the sun is really 93 million miles away, does it sometimes look oh so close? These clouds 93 million miles away? Or have you been told wrong? And have you believed wrong your entire life? Something to think about. Something to not think about lightly. Might just change your life for the better. I know, it might be scary. It might be scary at first. And there might be some tough times recalibrating where you are, but I promise you, it's worth it. But of course, all this is for entertainment purposes. I know I personally evolved from a tadpole. I'm spinning on a ball that can curve magically right now, and this has been a pleasure. Entertainment only.
Breakfast is break fast because they don't want you fasting to regenerate your body. So they programmed you to eat dense food in the morning, and then when you're tired by 10 p.m. you need poison coffee for more energy. All you need to do is to fast till 2 p.m. Then have fruit or a smoothie, something easy on the digestive system. 60% of your energy goes to the digestive system. So when you fast, this energy can be redirected into regenerating your body and producing stem cells. Your body's encoded with self-regenerating technology. That's why you cut yourself, it heals automatically. It's the same with illness. Your body knows how to heal the illness you have. You just have to move out of your acidic environment to an alkaline environment. So your body doesn't waste its time fighting off the toxic food you place in. Instead, it can redirect this energy into healing the body. Healing is not an overnight process. It takes months of an alkaline diet and fasting every week, and using these herbs to detoxify your temple. Meat, dairy, and these unnatural foods all cause inflammation in your body. Carrots are not healthy. Potatoes are not healthy. Broccoli and white rice, these things are all unnatural and made by humans. Your body only recognizes what was here on the day of creation, such as apples, figs, pears, strawberries, and all organic things.
Yo, what? I cannot even believe what I'm seeing right here. And just wait for the not related things completely 1000% are relevant. This is a very real commercial by Fruit Roll-Ups. Watch it.
Hey bud, let's chat about your childlike sense of wonder. You see, this family has fun.
This was nice.
Fruit roll. Childlike sense of wonder. They have fun. It's just a Fruit Roll-Up commercial. You guys look way too far into things. Wait, what is this that they're posting? Weird. By the way, completely 1000% unrelated. Have y'all seen the Talking Heads album cover? Looks very mysterious. Now, completely unrelated, not relevant whatsoever, I just want to tell you guys about the news that's happening right now. And obviously completely unrelated from this video that was just dropped timingly. By the way, I'm sure you didn't. Did you catch that right there? What the crap is that? Okay, now back to the unrelated. So just last night we had that drop of information, tens of thousands of tagless pictures and files that no one could even barely look through. And today that the victims are speaking out. Today. That's pretty wild, isn't it? Pretty wild indeed. Thoughts below.
Ghost photos are gonna leave you traumatized, so sorry. This first photo was taken in somebody's backyard, but it was taken in the UK, so technically it's a garden. The man was outside with his child, his wife snapped a photo, and this was in the background. A small gray figure in what looks like a suit and a hat is standing watching this man play with his daughter. Do you think this is the ghost of a child longing for a childhood he never got? Let me know. This next photo was a cute little selfie taken with a mother, daughter, and a grandchild. But they noticed in the photo there is an extra child in between them. Now, they were the only 3 people in the home at the time, yet there is a 4th person there. This apparition looks to be young, and it looks like it has a snarl on its face, like it's not happy about whatever is happening here. What do you guys think about these? And don't forget to like and follow.
I think those are 2 of the most terrifying ghost photos I've ever seen. Shout out to Chelsea. Whoa, those are some good catches right there. That first one, like it captured somebody in time, like they were still in black and white, you know? That's crazy.
Who's the biggest whistleblower
so far?
Right now, so far, yeah.
David Grush.
Mr. Grush, as a result of your previous government work, have you met with people with direct knowledge or have direct knowledge yourself of non-human origin craft?
Yes, I personally interviewed those individuals.
So give me his story.
David Grush came to me and George Knapp at a bar, like all good stories start. And he handed George Knapp, trusted journalist, his ICIG complaint. Intelligence Community Inspector General complaint. He was specifically tasked to investigate the black budget programs that deal with UFOs and non-human intelligence and tell us, are they hiding it? And he did. And he hit pay dirt. He came forward and finally with me and George, we're kind of guiding him. Hey, we've been down this road. Like, be careful of this. We know some people. Let's talk about this. Let's get you out in front so it's harder to hurt you. Here's the basics. There are UFOs. There are non-human intelligence. We have crash retrieval programs. Somebody asked him, were there any beings on some of these craft? And he says, yeah, on some of the crafts we retrieved biologics.
Do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
Biologics came with some of these recoveries, yeah.
He didn't say beings, bodies. He said biologics.
I remember talking to Larry Page, and he was saying, for space travel, it doesn't necessarily have to be you go through these light years. For example, you can download your consciousness or brain into a computer, send that through a laser beam into a clone that's already been printed out. So there are different sort of, biologics. If you
That's way above my pay grade. Can I have more whiskey?
It's my burn. Like this. It's nothing, okay? It's my burn. Just like this.
For our sound recorders, it was also a shocker. He then took our newspaper outside and showed us how chi can also be used to set things on fire.
Like this. It's nothing, okay? It's my burn.
It was a huge Epstein day today in Washington, D.C., so I'm going to update you on all the highlights that happened. The big news was that the Epstein survivors told their story and said some really interesting things on Capitol Hill, but I'm going to get to that in a second. Representative Nancy Mace met with the 6 victims behind closed doors, and she stormed out because of how horrific their stories were and had a full-blown panic attack. You can see the footage here. And Rep. Anna Paulina said, yeah, this is probably a lot bigger than we think. Also, this guy could be an intelligence asset.
The victims themselves have stated that this is a lot bigger than I think anyone anticipated. There are some very rich and powerful people that need to go to jail. I think everyone's been frustrated as to why that hasn't happened before. But it is very much so a possibility that Jeffrey Epstein was a intelligence asset working for our adversaries.
Now we have the survivors themselves speaking. First up, we have the bombshell of Lisa Phillips. She said that the Epstein survivors are going to make their own client list.
All of us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list of names. Many of us were abused by them. That's right. Now together as survivors, we will confidentially compile the names we all know were regularly in the Epstein world. And it will be done by survivors and for survivors.
And something interesting happened. This survivor said that Jeffrey Epstein's biggest brag was knowing Donald Trump.
Truth is, Epstein had a free pass. He bragged about his powerful friends, including our current president, Donald Trump. It was his biggest brag, actually.
The reason I say it's interesting because look at the lawyer behind her. Now, this lawyer is going to talk right now, and he said that he was trying to take down Epstein back in the day, and Donald Trump was actually helping him.
Tell you that I talked to President Trump back in 2009, and several times after that, he didn't think that it was a hoax then. In fact, he helped me. He got on the phone. He told me things that were helping our investigation. Now, our investigation wasn't looking into him, but he was helping us then. He didn't treat this as a hoax. So at this point in time, I would hope that he would revert back to what he was saying to get elected, which is, I want transparency. This about face that occurred, none of us understand it.
But people are saying, are you protecting people of power or people you know or people in office? And he continues to say it's a hoax.
Says he doesn't think you're implicated in these files, but many of your friends and donors may be, and since that's why the Justice Department is redacting them and slow walking the release, is the Justice Department protecting any friends or donors, sir? So this is a Democrat hoax.
That's a wrap. Hope you enjoyed the deep dive. If you enjoyed the video, please consider to like and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. Shout outs to all the reactors. Thanks again. Till next time.